Hello everyone. Welcome back to my course on developing soft skills and personality. This is from IIT Kanpur. I am Ravichandran from the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences. This is being given to you in the form of NPTEL MOOC course. And this is the last week, week number 8, the last module and the last lecture. So the moment I say last lecture, I feel little bit sentimental and overwhelmed to realize the fact that it was just like yesterday we started this, and then 8 weeks have passed so quickly, and then about 48 lectures have gone so successfully, so effectively and so meaningfully, and we are at the last lecture. And what thoughts I have on the last lecture, and we are going to conclude this course. I thought what else other than to give you some more general suggestions, tips on developing your life skills in terms of human relations, and particularly in terms of developing trust and integrity. Before I start this, let me go back to our previous lecture, the 7th module, in which I focused on the art of reading and taught you some techniques for effective reading. I particularly focused on some of the most important techniques that will help you to do effective reading, starting with previewing and sampling. Previewing helps you to eliminate what you do not want to read and choose the one that you like to read. So you can, especially if long materials are there and you don't have time to read, so then follow the technique of reading only the first 2 paragraphs and reading only the first and last sentences of remaining paragraphs and reading only the last 2 paragraphs. But you also gather some general information from other previewing possibilities such as the back flap and the small tiny information about critical reviews which are written on the book. Then I talked about skimming. Skimming is glancing through the keywords very quickly and trying to identify them. Usually the keywords are hidden in the topical sentences, and sometimes they are the core words, and if you remove it, the entire sentence will fall. It will not give any meaning. Skimming is very helpful in reading newspapers, magazines, travel brochures, or any light reading stuff, or any book that you want to read lightly and understand what is the gist of that. Skimming helps. Scanning will help you if you want to read a text quickly in order to find specific information such as some figures or names or some dates or some time or some age, okay, or the year. So scanning will help you to do that very quickly. But the next important reading technique that I taught you was about clustering while you read, because most of us have developed reading in a very rotten manner by reading word by word or reading letter by letter and not letting our reading progress in a rapid manner because of this habit. We need to kill this habit by trying to use our eyes, attract the words in groups. Now, if you can do that, attract the words in groups, as I gave you some illustrative examples, it will help you to get quick and full comprehension of whatever you are trying to read, whether it is light or hard, whether it is long or small. However, you would not become a really professional reader, you will not become the most powerful reader unless you also try to do something about close reading, at least in some novels that you read or some serious philosophical books that you read, where you should read for appreciation, not only for just gathering information and knowledge. There is a line from T.S. Eliot that says, April is the cruelest month. Now, the first line from his famous poem Wasteland indicates for a close reader why this April, which is supposed to be spring and then birds, every flowers, they are all in full blossom. Why is he saying that this is the cruelest month? So it gives you more chance for thinking further, and you understand that he is trying to portray something happened during the world wars, and then he is trying to bring the aftermath of that. So even that April is mixing. Later he says that the memory with desire. So people who are dead and gone, and then roots are coming out of that. So there is this burial and then resurrection. So this kind of theme is brought out. So he starts loading his poem in the first sentence itself. George Orwell in 1984. So the clock will strike 13 at the beginning of the novel. Now 13, striking 13 instead of 12 is something that recalls our attention immediately. Why is it's striking 13 instead of 12? When you think deeply and then when you go through the text further, you understand that 13 happens only in maritime army zones where they use this clock 13, 14, 15. So instead of saying 1 o'clock or 1 p.m. or a.m. Now only when army or military is using this kind of clock, in the first line itself the writer is trying to indicate that expect the dictatorial setup from my novel. It's about totalitarian society. It's about a society that is completely dominated by military setup and where there is no freedom of speech. Now you see how he is indicating just by the word 13. Okay, so in order to appreciate, in order to know what it means, in order to go for the inner and in-depth meanings, you need to do close reading. In fact, in order to do close reading, initially you can also read critical materials available on some of these books that you are interested in reading. Either you read the critical materials first and go to these novels, or read the novels and then read the materials. Both way it will enhance your reading and then your ability to appreciate this literature or philosophical materials. At the end of it, I suggested that if at all you want to develop one healthy addiction, that should be for reading. So read 24 into 7, anything, but at least focus reading for 3 hours in a day. So that's going to make you really a knowledgeable, wise person, a learned person and a scholar and an elitist scholar. So try to develop this reading habit. TV is not going to help you, or watching anything on video is not going to help you. Even this program we are giving it on video because just to remove the distance, but ideally speaking you will learn more. So if you are able to read corresponding topics at your own pace and all that, although we have made it as a very self-contained videos. But apart from this, don't be satisfied with this. Try to read on your own, develop interest in reading anything. The next golden rule I left in conclusion is that if you read anything, whatever that interests you, whatever you start reading, try to finish it. So don't leave it in the middle. So that is another key for success. That is about reading, which is a very fundamental skill you need to develop and then enhance and use it effectively in order to promote your other soft skills, which are again related with communication, such as writing, speaking, even listening. Okay. Now, so much so about the previous one. Let's look at this module where my focus is on human relations. And here I just want you to recall some of the points with which I started before, but I just want to highlight certain other aspects of human relations. At the beginning itself I told you human relations are the ones that are going to contribute to your success as well as failure. It's the people around you who will give you success, and it's the people around you who will contribute to your failure. It's your happiness or sorrow. Both are contributed by human relations. Living a remorseless life, that is living a very harmonious life without any regret, or even deciding to commit suicide, that again is depending on your human relations. The moment your human relationship fails, so you think of committing suicide. In marital relationships, people go for divorce. Okay. Now all are failure in terms of human relations. So you should remember that it's very important to maintain this. One golden rule that can help you to maintain good human relations is that you should always remember to treat others as how you want to be treated by those people, others in general. So, if you want others to respect you, you should respect them. If you want others to love you, you should love them. If you want others to sympathize with you, show compassion to you, you should sympathize and you should show compassion. So, if you want others to help you in critical situations, you should offer help in the first instance. So, this is a mutual cause and effect kind of thing that works in human relations, and always treat others. If you want others to treat you with dignity and you don't want them to harm your self respect, reciprocate, give the same thing to others. And in any relationships, do not bring power struggles. If at all you bring, understand that it will be leading to a win-lose situation, and then if you think you win, you will always lose in human relationships. If you think you win your boss, but you again lose your job. If you think that you win over your wife, but then it can lead to divorce. If you think that you won your son or daughter, again it can lead to further communication gap and breakup of relationships. So, it has to be win-win in terms of human relations. So, do not use power struggles. Power, if at all you need to use, remember what John Aston has to say, power is the ability to do good things. Use power. If you are in a powerful position, sometimes the position itself gives you some power. If you are a senior student, the position is giving you power. If you are a husband, it's giving you power. If you are a wife, it's also giving you power. If you are a mother, it's giving you power. Now, use this power to empower people around you. So, if you are at the higher level of hierarchy, try to build up those who are at the lower level in terms of giving support, in terms of empowering them. Often in terms of man-woman relationship, trust is not built. So, that leads to so many problems. Once a man and woman has decided to live as husband and wife in the same home, secrets are kept. Secrets are kept in mobile phones. Okay. So, husband cannot see wife's phone and vice versa. Financial transactions are hidden from each other. Money is not kept in the common place where both can use it whenever they need it. Talk such as your money, my money comes. Okay, you use your money for that, I will use my money for this. Who are you to ask me when I am using my money to buy that expensive gift? Who are you to stop me to do that? So, the moment this kind of talk comes, okay, when it is something that has to be built commonly in trust, so friction will come. In fact, in this relationships, one of the key ways to check whether the relationship is stable or not is to see how they are talking about money, how they are free with money. Can the money be kept safely in a place where the children do not steal money from the father's pocket or mother's handbag? The children do not cheat, or the wife is not taking money from husband's pocket, or the husband is afraid of giving the ATM pin to the wife. Now, these are levels of trust. Now, once you want to build trust, so you have to trust, and then trust is something that you have to give first. You have to be trustworthy, okay, so that you can actually make the other person also trustworthy. This should happen between parents and children, so they should be able to trust each other. Children should realize that after all, parents are doing certain things with the best of intentions, and parents should realize that children are their children and they will not commit mistakes and they may be ethically correct instead of their doubts and suspicions. Teachers and students, again, relationship has to be maintained in terms of trust. Manager and workers, it's very important that trust has to be built to both sides, manager as well as workers. Along with that, you should also try to maintain integrity. Integrity is to do with your character, to do with your ability to keep things morally right, wrong, to do with your emotional intelligence, it's to do with your spiritual competence. As it is said that when money is lost or when wealth is lost, nothing is lost because you can always regain wealth. But when health is lost, something is lost, and when character is lost, everything is lost. To build up a character, to build that character with integrity and add trust to it, sometimes takes years. You take 10 years, 20 years, 30 years to build relationship and then build that with the integrity and trust. But you can break it in fraction of a second. So while building integrity, it means moral soundness in terms of character and principles, but never preach something that you don't follow. If you are drinking at home or if you are drinking outside, okay, you cannot tell your children or your wife that they should not drink because you know that it's a bad thing, but you are doing for yourself. If you are smoking, you cannot tell anybody that you stop smoking. I remember an incident with Mahatma Gandhi that all of you might be knowing. The mother went to Gandhi and then she said that her son is eating so much of sweets. So Gandhi said that, and she said, if you tell him, he will stop it. So Gandhi just told her that, could you come after 3 days? So she said, fine. She came after 3 days and then Gandhi said, please stop eating excessive sweets, it's not good for you, sugar as such is not good. So the son said okay, but the mother was surprised. She asked Gandhiji, you could have said this 3 days before, why did you take this 3 days time to say the simple thing that you are telling now? So Gandhiji said that 3 days before I was fond of sweets, okay, I was not able to resist sweets and I was taking a lot of sugar, and before I tell him this, I wanted to strengthen my character. I wanted to try whether I'll be able to stop eating these sweets. Now at least 3 days I have stopped completely. I have the moral fiber, moral strength to tell him that he should stop eating it. Okay. See how integrity is built. It's built in principles and character, moral soundness, and they're all interlinked together. And when you don't preach what you do not practice, if you really want somebody to practice something good, so you do that and then you don't have to tell anybody. So you set the example, you be the model, and then people will be inspired. So that is the best way to set an example. How to sustain this trust and integrity once you try to develop and build it? It looks like it seems to be quite difficult, but it's not impossible. Keep certain more norms in mind. Never break the trust of someone built for years. Okay, whether you are representing a company, the companies develop goodwill, whether you are representing a family, whether you are representing friends, whether you are in peer groups, whether you are representing some colleagues, never break the trust of someone built for years. Whatever money, whatever benefit you will get is not worth breaking the trust, because when you break the trust, you are not only damaging that person, you are not only demoralizing, you are not only disappointing, causing frustration to the person, making that person upset, you are not only hurting that person, but eventually you will realize there is something in you has diminished, it has reduced you. You fall lower in your own expectations, and that esteem level has gone low. You realize that you did a mistake, and then there is no way to make amendments. You are trying to do your best. That is why you should not let someone down in impulsive moments. Impulsively, you get carried away by something, you want to do something, and at the cost of letting down somebody with whom you have built up trust. And remember, as I have said before, circumstance does not make you. Okay, you cannot say that because of the circumstance I became a victim. Circumstance actually reveals you. It brings the inner in you at crucial moments. That is why in interviews they have this situation reaction test. They'll put you in stress. They'll create very tough circumstance by which you can bring the best or the worst in you. Okay. So when circumstance is compelling you to act in an aberrant manner, in an abnormal manner in which you would not do, okay, just ask yourself, especially if you are deciding to betray someone, if you are deciding to give someone an unfair treatment, ask yourself whether that person would do the same to you in the given circumstance. If the person would do the same to you in the given circumstance, in a sense you are justified in doing, although I will not say that, you can still have a lame excuse. But if you know for 200% sure that that person is not going to react to you in that manner at all, the way you are going to react now, then you are completely unjustified in giving that undeserved treatment to the person. And that is not going to leave you, because that person at that moment is in a vulnerable situation and you are actually exploiting that. Fyodor Dostoevsky in Crime and Punishment makes a very interesting revelation about human oppression and suppression. So there is an innocent person who is tortured, victimized by another evil person, but that innocent person who is beaten, tortured, victimized thinks in his mind that why this guy is beating me and then I am helpless and there is nobody to help me. And the author says that even the thought that when he is thinking that he is attacking me in my vulnerable moment, and the thought itself, he says, can harm the other person who is trying to oppress in terms of vulnerable situations. So keep that in mind, and overall human nature is like that. People become generous, people will forget things, but then they can never forgive the wrongdoings that you might have done for them. So even they may patch up and then they may continue with that. So that's why you have to be extremely careful in committing certain misdeeds, especially in terms of relationships that's to do with trust and integrity. Remember again, in life there is no quick fix. Okay, like you have the quick fix for any broken things, and even there it will be written, it can fix everything except broken hearts. Okay, that is the ad for them. So broken hearts, okay, and especially if you are responsible for that, it cannot fix. Okay, no glue can fix it, because heart is such an emotional content thing which cannot be fixed with some external agents. Human relations are wrought with emotions, and then emotions are not materials that can be fixed or replaced at our own whims and fancies. In life also there is no rewind or fast forward button. You cannot think that, oh, I will hurt this person now, but I'll go back and then sort out everything. No, you cannot go back to the moment and then rechange it. You cannot also think that I'll fast forward, I'll go to some future time and I will change everything, I'll make amends for all these things. You need to realize that the present is crucial and you need to learn to live in the present. And at this moment, if you are true to yourself and then if you are able to integrate you with the people around you, your past will go without any trouble, it will not chase you, and your future will take you without any sense of anxiety. About treating others, let me tell you that 2-3 things in terms of relationships which are very crucial, the one that parents have with their children and the ones that children have with their parents. Okay. As many of you have liked the stories that I have been telling, I would like to end this module again by telling you 2 or 3 stories. The first story is to illustrate that sometimes parents have lot of expectations. The father wanted to become an IAS officer, but then even after 4th, 5th attempt he could not become. The father wanted to become an engineer, the father wanted to become a doctor, the father wanted to crack JEE and then become All India number 10 or something. But the father or the mother could not become or could not live up to their expectations, and they have their unfulfilled ambitions and frustrations. They have no right to trust those unfulfilled ambitions and frustrations on their children. Okay. And they have to leave the children to grow and develop as per their ambitions and their desires and their inner wishes. So, this was about a father and son. They were going on a car, and then the son said that father, try to overtake this car. So, the father tried, and then he said that son, it's like it's a BMW, then our car is a small old model car and it cannot beat this. Father, try this one. No, and then he tries so fast, and then he realizes that that's an Audi, and then it's not possible for you to do that. Father, you try this one also. So, they tried, and then father tries, and then he says, I cannot overtake this. 4, 5 cars the son said he could not overtake. And then the son said, Father, when you realize that your car is made up in such a manner that it can go only with the speed and it cannot overtake other cars which are built in such a manner that they can go in high speed, why do you compare me with others? When you say that I am slow in reading, and when you compare that your neighbor's son is faster in reading and picking up skills, don't you realize that maybe I am made up in a particular way? Okay. Then the father realized his mistake, and then he said sorry. But that is something that is illustrative to all parents, and it's an eye opener that we should realize that there is a constitution, composition, there is a genetic makeup, there is an environmental brought up, all are contributing to the child's mindset. Okay. It's not fair to impose the parents' mindset to the children and then not to cause them frustration or not to make them feel nervous. I told you this story. But the next is from the parent side, especially when they become elders. This is one soft skill alone, I would say, that will determine your EQ, SQ level, and that will determine your so many other soft skills and personality development in terms of all exemplary qualities that you can have. That is with regard to respecting elders, the way you treat elders, the way you treat senior citizens, the respect you have, the love you have for them. When I was reading Gandhiji's My Experiment with the Truth, one thing that struck about Gandhiji's personality was that it was said that he was always blind to the fault of elders. He was always blind to the fault of elders. That was coming out of his love and respect for them. So if elders made a mistake, he was just blind. He was not complaining. He was not even pointing out to them. But in today's world, so there's like all are competing with each other. And even if an elder makes a mistake out of poor memory, so the younger people who are around, they get very angry, they are annoyed, they shout at the person, and they make the person so nervous. Again, I remember a story where the daughter is so annoyed and then shouts at the mother for not able to sign that check properly and not able to hold the pen. So the mother says, can you hold my hand? I'll be able to put the signature. The daughter gets annoyed and she says, how many times I have to do that? Don't you know that you can do that easily? And then the mother says politely that, daughter, when you started learning, hundreds of times I have held your hand and then I have never said anything to you. So often, like, the children forget how they were groomed, trained by their own parents when they reach a level where they become independent. When they become much popular and much successful than their parents, when they are able to earn 10 times the money than their parents, 100 times more reputation than their parents, then sometimes arrogance, haughtiness come to them. And this is the story of one such son who became very haughty and arrogant, and then he like thought that he has done much better than his father, and he wanted his father to realize that he is at the mercy of his son. So he didn't even allow to his father to come inside and sit very often, and he mostly kept him outside of his huge posh bungalow, and there is a small place where he will be sleeping and he will be shivering in cold. And he had a pet dog, and the dog was also tied just next to the father. And what he will do is, he will first give food to the dog, and the dog finishes eating the food, and then he takes the same plate and then he puts food for his father and he gives it, just to show him that he can insult him, and then father cannot do anything about it now. The father didn't say anything, so he just, because he was in a vulnerable situation and there was nobody to give him food, and then he was eating it. The grandson used to see this. Okay. Every time the father comes, he'll give the food to the dog and he'll use the same plate and then put food for his father and then give it to the father. One day he came out and saw that the father has died, he passed away. So he took him to the cremation ground, they did all the last rites, and then he came back home. When he came back home, and then he was cleaning everything, and then for the dog he came and then he kept a new plate for the dog, and then he was about to throw the old plate, and that time the son came and he took the old plate that the dog was eating, in which the son's grandfather was also using it. So he took it and then he wanted to keep it with him. The father was surprised, and then he asked the son, why are you taking this plate? It's a useless plate, and then we'll throw it. To which the son said, when you grow old, so how will I give you food? I think I have to give you food using this plate, right? I hope you got the moral of the story. What you do to others is what you will get from others at a later stage. In the case of the son who insulted his father, his son, who is the grandson, actually thought that this is the way you have to treat elder people, and he learnt it from his father. So he thought that you have to use the same plate that dog eats to give food to your parents when they become old. And he thinks that is what he should do is to his father also. Okay. And this is something, as I was telling, that this indelible mark, it cannot be removed from your mind. You cannot change what the child thinks by looking at your behavior, by using any number of words. The child is not going to change his or her mind. Let me tell you another interesting story before I come to the concluding thoughts of this course. This is the scenario where a very, again, a rich, posh businessman has come to leave his father in an old orphanage home. That's because his wife has been torturing him, and the wife is not liking keeping his father at home. And they had enough arguments, so many quarrels, and the father himself thought that he can better leave, go somewhere. And then he suggested to the son, and the son also said, then okay, then I'll put you in this orphanage home, but don't tell them by mistake that I am your son. Okay, so then people will think I am such a rich guy, and then it will create bad reputation to me. And at the same time, he said that you, when you go there, I will leave you and come back, and you tell them that I am just your neighbor trying to help you, and then you are abandoned by other people. So you are an orphan now. So the father didn't mind anything. He said, fine, like at least you leave me in their home. So the son comes, and then he is picking one or two bags of his cloth, and there is phone call from his wife asking, have you left him? Have you left him? Why are you so delayed? So come back quickly. Okay, we have to go for a movie, we have to do some shopping and all that. So leave that old fellow and come quickly. So he went, and then the father went inside, and then while going, the father was touched by the owner of that orphanage, and then he greeted him very nicely, and that orphanage owner was talking to him as if they are very good close friends. Okay, he was asking him something and all that, and then he went inside. So the son was taking the baggage, and then he went and he kept it and came out, and then he was curious, how is this orphanage owner might be knowing his father. Okay. So he went and asked him sir, how do you know this person? Then he asked what is your relationship and all that, and he was trying to hide that he is actually his father and all that, but the other person said, so whatever it is, it's okay, but since you asked it, although this person didn't want me to tell you this, but since you asked, I would like to tell you. So this person came about 40 years before, and then he didn't have any child, and he took a child from this orphanage for growing as his only son, and then he grew him up with lot of love and affection. I don't know what happened to that son now, but then somebody like you has come and dropped him here. So obviously you can understand that the son was actually an orphan whom the father took from this orphanage home. Later the son grew up and then became so arrogant and then so cruel that he didn't even realize that he could have had this kind of background, and then he came and then leave him in this orphanage. So these are just stories to tell you that treat others, especially if you are treating elders, just try to show them respect and give them the respect they actually deserve. Now, as a concluding thought, I thought that instead of summing up the entire course, I am just going to read out a poem by a very famous poet, and then first let me read it quickly and then explain to you, and that is a kind of gist of what I have been doing in this 48 lectures, and this is my concluding thoughts. And if you realize the importance of this poem, then I would have actually taught my course effectively. Let me read the poem and then let me explain this to you very quickly. You start dying slowly if you do not travel, if you do not read, if you do not listen to the sounds of life, if you do not appreciate yourself. You start dying slowly when you kill your self-esteem, when you do not let others help you. You start dying slowly if you become a slave of your habits. walking every day on the same paths. If you do not change your routine, if you do not wear different colors, or you do not speak to those you don't know, you start dying slowly. If you avoid to feel passion under turbulent emotions, those which make your eyes glisten and your heart beat fast, you start dying slowly. If you do not change your life when you are not satisfied with your job or with your love, if you do not risk what is safe for the uncertain, if you do not go after a dream, if you do not allow yourself at least once in your lifetime to run away from sensible advice, you start dying slowly. It's from a very famous poet, Pablo Neruda. Let me quickly explain to you and how it is linked with our own course. You start dying slowly in the sense that you don't live a meaningful life. You are gradually dying and becoming useless. If you do not travel, if you do not go out and see different people, if you do not read, so it's literally and figuratively amounting to a brain death if you do not read. If you do not listen to the sounds of life, so the sounds of life come from birds, environment, come from children, even come from old people. If you cannot listen to the sounds of life, come from friendship, good human relationships. If you do not appreciate yourself, if you all the time self-criticize, if you all the time keep a low self-esteem about yourself, if you are all the time jealous of somebody because you cannot match up to others' expectations and you cannot increase your level, you start dying slowly. When you kill your self-esteem, when you do not let others help you, you start dying slowly. So sometimes you have to take help from others instead of thinking that it is a weakness. By taking help, you are also helping them to heal you and you are also empowering them to help you. If you become a slave of your habits, so go to our habits unit, the complete module for a week. So if you are not able to change your bad habits, you will only become slave and walking every day on the same path. If you are doing the same thing again and again, you are actually dying. If you do not change your routine, if you do not wear different colors means not just dress, but trying different roles in your life, taking different risks in your life, or you do not speak to those you don't know. That is using your communication skills, developing your soft skills, meeting people of different culture, going to different regions, traveling. If you don't talk to different people whom you have never seen before, the author says you start dying slowly. If you avoid to feel passion, so some people are afraid of committing into human relations. Under turbulent emotions, some people avoid relations fearing that it will hurt you. So then again he says those which make your eyes glisten. So sometimes you have to take sorrow as normal part of life and your heart beat fast. You start dying slowly. If you do not change your life, so life you should keep changing frequently. When you are not satisfied with your job, for example, or with your life, so there is no point in sticking to things which is not satisfying you and causing you frustration, then it is moment to change that. If you do not risk what is safe for the uncertain, fearing that you will always be in your comfortable zone and you don't want to leave that, so then again you are sort of dying gradually. If you do not go after a dream, whatever you are visualizing in your life, if you do not allow yourself at least once in your lifetime to run away from sensible advice, advice given by parents, advice given by teachers, advice given by bosses. So lots of people are there to give you advice, but at least once you should be able to think something what is applicable to you and your life, and to even avoid that kind of advice and try to lead your own life. He says if you don't do it, you start dying slowly. So, I leave you with this thought, whether you want to die slowly or live in a very fast paced life actively, rigorously. So, take a re-look at our lessons starting from the first one until the last one. As I said, this poem very appropriately sums up whatever I have been trying to tell you. If you liked the entire course, I would like to request you to join the next course that will start uh, after this is fully completed, uh, and this will be slightly at a higher level, that is enhancing your soft skills and personality. So, you have developed now, but you need to enhance, you need to hone your skills. So, that course will help you to do that at a very professional level also. I thank you all of you for watching all these videos. You have been very patient, you are very actively participating, and you have actually inspired me to do all these lectures in a very interesting and very useful manner. It is all to your feedback. Thank you so much for your feedback. You can also send your feedback as you have been doing all the time. So, I wish you all success. I am sure that these lectures will help you. Whenever you are in crisis, even look at some particular lectures that will try to help you. Keep writing to me, and if I can help you in any possible form, I will try to help you also. Wish you all the best, all success, and thank you for watching all these videos and this video in particular. See you in the next course, next lecture. Thank you again. Have a very nice day.